Welcome, everyone, to Shine Your Mojo Sunday, where we meet each and every week at 7 p.m. on Sunday night to set the dial to what we want to feel, who we want to become, what we want to focus on for the upcoming week. Because so much of what we experience in life has to do with the thoughts that we think, imprinting new thoughts and messages and seeds for the upcoming week so that we can have success, health, happiness, and experience more of what we want and less of what we don't want. The reason why we meet here on Sunday night is because usually on Sunday night we've just experienced a weekend, had some time off, and we're starting to think about the work week. And whether we realize it or not, it's our secret thoughts that count. So in our subconscious mind, we're starting to dread the upcoming week. Of course, there's an exception if there's a long weekend or if we've been on vacation. But still, even if that's the case, we then think about all the extra responsibilities we have when we actually start back into the work week or come back from vacation. And as we're getting ready to launch into the summer, it's Memorial Weekend, there are lots of times where we may have long weekends or be away on vacation. So it's the same kind of mindset plus. And so no matter what, no matter whether we have been on vacation, whether we've taken time off, or whether we've just worked and worked and worked and not taken any time off, it's a matter of what we think about right before we fall asleep at night and first thing in the morning that's going to set the tone for the day and for the upcoming week. And we focus on just one area each and every week so that we can put all our energy on that focus. I am Wendi Blum, and I'm a success and strategy coach. And I am passionate about helping men and women from around the globe tap into their power, the unlimited power that exists inside of each and every one of us to unleash our genius, our brilliance that exists inside of each one of us, and live a life that we love right here and right now. Our focus for this week is on the breath, connecting to the breath and actually taking time out to inhale in what we want, to actually breathe with intention, to inhale in things like peace and love and centering, and inhale in expansion and harmony and strength, and to exhale out the things that no longer serve us, to exhale out old beliefs, old stories, something that holds us back, a memory that keeps us stuck. And the breath is so incredibly powerful. It is the first thing that we do when we're born, and it is the very last thing that we do before we transition. And then there's no conversation about the breath for the most part in between. You know, it's those things that we do automatically. It's the things that are so apparent, they're so visible, they're right there. We take them for granted. So tonight we're opening the conversation around the power of the breath, inhaling in more happiness and wholeness and even more business success into our lives right here and right now. And so there is a science behind why the breath is so important. Focusing on your breath, taking deep inhales in, actually slows down your heart rate. And the reason for that is because our nervous system is actually made up of two nervous systems, the sympathetic nervous system and the parasympathetic nervous system. And the sympathetic nervous system is what revs you up and prepares you for fight or flight. And when we find ourselves in immediate danger, and in the past, that used to be when we were being chased by a saber-toothed tiger. And so it was important to have that flight or fight response. But these days, that nervous system, the sympathetic nervous system, is triggered when we have to do things like public speaking or take a test or driving down a busy freeway or even something in our business like making a sales call. And as you become more anxious, your heart starts to beat faster. And when your heart is beating faster, then we become even more and more anxious. And what happens is it starts to restrict the blood flow to the brain, so you're not getting as much oxygen to the brain. So the importance of connecting to the breath is so critically important, because the other side of the coin is the parasympathetic nervous system, which is what calms you down, slows you down so that you can think with clarity and focus. And it also helps with creativity so that you can have, innovative and creative thinking through a challenge or a problem when it comes up. So the breath is so critically important. We think of the breath when we just think about yoga, but the breath is so critically important to connect with. It also brings you to the present moment. When you are focused on the breath, you become aware. First, aware of being present in your body. It connects the mind and the body and the spirit together. When you are focused on the breath, then you can let go of the thoughts of the past, any past mistakes that you've made, or any worry or anxiety about the future. And then lastly, the breath, it just makes you feel good. And the reason it makes you feel good is because connecting to the breath, it's sending oxygen, energy throughout your entire body, chi, prana. So all of a sudden you're tapped into vitality, energy. You become inspired. Then you take bold action in your life. All of a sudden you get up and you're ready to set the world on fire, to live boldly. And so what we're going to do tonight is we have a special guest with us that's going to be on the call here in a few minutes, Michelle Berlin. She owns a yoga studio down in Miami by the name of Trio. And Michelle, she herself, not only does she practice what she teaches her students, but she has used the transformational breath and a breath that we're going to do here in just a few minutes in her own life. And maybe she'll share a little bit about how the breath has helped her and moved her forward on her journey in life. But she's going to teach us just a simple breath that we can use every day in our lives. And it's important to even just think about connecting to the breath before something comes up, before there's a problem or some sort of challenge that comes up, so that we're centered and we're grounded and we have clarity and focus in our lives each and every day. So I'm going to introduce here Michelle and put her on the line because she's going to share a simple breath work, and I'm just going to ask her to share a little bit about her story and her background. So here's Michelle Berlin.
Hello. So when I think about the breath and how I use it in my practice, the first thing that I really like to connect to is that I own this breath. And this breath is nurturing, it's giving life, it's prana, it's energy. So when you step out of the mundane routine to-do list, things that you have to do in your daily lives, and you think about, what you really own. You think you own your cars. You think you own your clothes. You think you own your homes. But the only thing that you truly own that's yours is your breath. So we really need to embrace it and have gratitude and take a moment in our daily lives to connect to it. So just a very simple practice that you can do. And it doesn't mean you have to do it for an hour. You just take a few minutes in the morning or a few minutes at night just to close your eyes and connect. So sometimes with the eyes open, we see the physical world, but with the eyes closed, we can start to tune into the inner world, our breath, our heartbeat, what's going on inside. So if you want to just take a moment just to practice with me, get a comfortable seated position, or you're more than welcome to lay down. And just close your eyes and just first acknowledge the breath. That's all you're going to do is just acknowledge it. And be an observer. Don't try to control the breath, just observe it. And usually the breath can tell you a lot about what's going on in your life at this moment, how your emotions are, where your thoughts are. So I like to think of my breath as my guru, as my teacher. And I say that to my students, I'm not your teacher. Your breath is your teacher. The breath can tell you a lot. So just take a moment and connect to your breath. Just close your eyes and connect to the breath. Acknowledge it. Observe it. It's nurturing. It's giving. Just tune into that. And now you're going to start to try to elongate the breath, which is going to slow down the heartbeat, slow down the nervous system. And you're going to try to make your inhales, which is the masculine, active, yang energy. You're going to try to make your inhales about 3 or 4 seconds long. And then try to make your exhales maybe a little bit more exaggerated, so maybe 4 or 5 seconds long. The exhales are the yin, the feminine energy, the letting go. So now we often think about starting the breath on the inhales. I want you to try to reverse it. Start the breath on the exhale. So only when you take a full, deep exhale, then you have all this space to take a new, fresh, cleansing, nurturing inhale. So let's start it with that feminine letting go, the yin principle, the surrendering, and then take a nice deep inhale. And you want to practice that maybe just a few times for maybe a few minutes in the morning and at night. And instead of just taking a deep breath where it's short, you want to try to take breaths that are longer, more nurturing, more calming. So we're always trying to elongate the breath, and that's going to slow everything down and kind of center you. Because in this life, everything's moving so fast, we have to take a moment just to stop and reconnect with ourselves. Because yoga, and I talk about the breath in terms of yoga is bringing us back into connection with the self. So yoga means to yoke. You don't have to do crazy poses to put your leg behind your head or jump into a handstand. Yoga is the breath, the connection to breath, connection to life, connection to nature, and connection to the true nature of the self, which is loving, kind, compassionate, stress-free, worry-free. So always try to reconnect to that. Reconnecting to your breath is reconnecting to life and gratitude and love. Thank you.
Okay, well, that was a nice surprise to be able to have Michelle join us tonight on our call. So what I invite all of you to do is each night before going to bed to connect with your breath, to just pause, to feel the breath, to acknowledge the breath right before going to sleep at night, imprinting that remembering of how important the breath is. And then first thing in the morning, just taking a couple minutes just to connect with your breath. As simple as that. And so we wish you so much success, so much health, and so much happiness this week. And look forward to connecting with you again next Sunday for Shine Your Mojo Sunday. Thank you and good night, everyone.